Hi everyone, it's Nicole and happy National Scrapbooking Day. I know this is like the third video, but I'm going to be saying it in each video. I'm so excited that we have our day. We have a day to do something that we, absolutely love, and it's recognized. There's a National Scrapbooking Day, so that gets me pretty excited. I just wish I was feeling a little better, but you know what? I still had fun making all these layouts. Now, the first thing I did was I went into some of my new papers. These papers are from Simple Stories I Am. And I found two pattern papers. One of them is just a lined paper, and then the other one is also a lined paper, but it has all the flower decoration on the side there, and that's what I'm going to decide to do or to use for my background. I used another cut apart, and I took that little 4x4 square that had little flowers on it because it reminded me of the flowers on the other side. So that way I was going to be able to put flowers on both sides of the layout. Yes, this is a 2-page spread. I used to do 2-page spreads all the time, but I found ever since I started doing YouTube, I've been doing a whole lot more 1-page spread. But I'm trying to incorporate them a little bit more, doing 2-page spread. Now let's talk a little bit about the challenge. The challenge for this one is to scrapbook about something that you love. Or some of your favorites. So it can be your favorite movies. In my case, it's going to be, my favorite books. It could be, I don't know, your, favorite makeup, favorite, whatever the case may be. Isn't that kind of neat that we can put this in our scrapbook and later on people can look and see that, these in 2018, these are some of my favorite books that I loved. Now, at first I was going to do just books that I've read in 2018, which as of today, I just checked before I started doing the recording, I have read 48 books up to now. So today is May 4th, and I have read 48 books. So I could have chosen from there, but once I started looking on Goodreads, I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of all my favorite books that I've read since I started putting them on Goodreads, we'll say. And I went on Goodreads and found the books that I really loved, and I took a picture with my phone, and then I just printed them on my pick frame app. And there's one of them that has 4 per picture, and I made the picture, I think it was like 2x3, like the whole frame, so that each of these little pictures are quite small. I have, what did I count, 19 of them that I printed off, and some of them are more than one book from one author. Some authors I just absolutely love, and I know that I'm going to be reading everything that they absolutely write. So it's not necessarily, just one story that they wrote that I love. I just loved everything that I have read from them, so I know I'm going to keep reading whatever I read. So the top 2 are a couple of series from Sarah J. Maas. So the first one is the Throne of Glass series, which I have to say I'm not even done that yet. I have read 4 books in the series, or 3 books in the series. I'm on the 4th one. I've read the first 2, and then I also read the bunch of novellas, which, by the way, if you're reading that series, you need to read the novellas. It's not like a novella. It's actually like a story. Like each new book in the novella is like a new story. But anyway, so I love both of those series. And the other one is A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm anxiously awaiting the novella coming in. And then there's going to be another 3-book series in that. I love that. I love Cassandra Clare. I love the Shadowhunter world. I've loved, I read the 6 books in the original Shadowhunter and then the 3 in the Internal Devices. So I've read 9 books plus the 2 novellas that came with that from Magnus Bane and the Tales of Shadowhunter Academy. So I've read 11 books in the Shadowhunter world, which I absolutely love all of them. And Next, I'm going to be reading Lady Midnight, which is The Dark Artifices. I'm just waiting closer to the date that it's actually going to be released. That is one thing that I don't like, is to read books and then I have to wait a year to find out what happens next. I just don't like that. So I try to read series most of the times that is completed, and then that way I can read them all at once. But before I talk a little bit more about some of the books that are my favorites, let's talk about what I decided to do. So I divided my pictures into category. So a lot of them are like from fantasy, so I put them under the tab, or I use some tiny stickers from Basic Gray and Black. And before I started the video, I knew that was going to take me a long time, so I just put it on some wax paper and I just wrote all the different sort of categories. So I got fantasy, thriller, romance, sci-fi, and then fiction. And I also wanted to put young adult, because I do like to read a lot of young adult. I like to read some adult books too, but I enjoy young adult, and I also enjoy middle grade. So I have quite a variety of stuff that I like to read. I don't like to read horror, and I don't like to read nonfiction. I'd say those are the two that I haven't read any of those because I'm a scaredy cat. So thrillers is as, adventurous as I want to get with that. And I read because I want to escape and sort of real life, it's another hobby that I like that brings me to another place. Like scrapbooking does that too. I love scrapbooking, and reading does that for me too. So I like to read something that is fiction. It's not real, but I still absolutely love it. Then the other thing that I did was, if there was more than one book by one author that I wanted to sort of showcase, I made sure that they were together. So the 2 Sarah J. Maas books are together. The 2 Cassandra Clare books are together. The thrillers are together. Then I decided on 3 colors. I went into my scraps and found some pink cardstock that was just scrap, a piece of yellow pattern paper, and some black cardstock. So then I just made sure that I used a little bit of everything. So I matted the photos either with black cardstock, that yellow pattern paper, or the pink cardstock. Now once that is all done, I'm going to start gluing everything down, and then I put the little stickers above it. So this is the fantasy category. So I took the little words and put fantasy above it. And then I really like adventure books, so I spelled out adventure, and I'm going to put it above the 3 next books that I'm going to talk about. So the first one is Daughter of the Pirate King, and that's by Trisha Levenseller. And this is a story about pirates. So if you like Pirates of the Caribbean, you will love this, except the pirate, the protagonist, like the main character, is a female pirate, and she's a kick-butt girl, and I just absolutely love that. Now this is a duology, and the second one is called Daughter of the Siren Queen, and I have read both books and I loved it. And of course the next one is Harry Potter. Now I have to say, I haven't finished the entire series, but I already know it's going to be one of my favorites. I'm on book 4, and I'm absolutely loving every single book, so I can put it on there knowing that it's going to be one of my favorites. Now, the other one is the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. I absolutely love that series. Now, I read the series that came before, which was Shadow and Bone, and I would suggest that you would read the Shadow and Bone trilogy first, and then Six of Crows, because the magic system is way more fleshed out in the first trilogy, and in the second one they just talk about the different magic, the different types of magic that they have. So I can see someone just reading just those would be a little confused about what some of the magic that they can do. So I absolutely love that entire series. Now the next section is sci-fi, and for that I loved the Marissa Meyer, the Lunar Chronicles series, and this is a bunch of retelling, and I am a sucker for retellings. And the first book is a retelling of Cinderella. The second book is a retelling, it's called Scarlet, and is a retelling of Little Riding Hood. The third book is Cress, and that's a retelling of Rapunzel. And the fourth book is Winter, and that's a retelling of Snow White. And oh my goodness, I absolutely loved that series. I read it back to back to back, and I read the entire thing. Now the next sci-fi book that I have, or series that I've read, is the Illuminae Files, and that has to be in my top 3 favorites. The Illuminae Files, I absolutely loved it, and my husband listened to the audiobooks, and I both read the books and listened to the audiobooks. And oh my goodness, if you're going to read this series, please, please, please listen to the audiobooks. It is a full cast. It's got sound effects. It is amazing. So good that my husband now is totally spoiled. He's like, but I want to listen to books that, you know, have more than one person reading the books. So we've been finding some new books that you know, that he's going to be able to listen to while he's on the elliptical and on the treadmill. He absolutely loved these books too. He's asking me again and again, when are they releasing their next series? Because Jay Kristoff, oh, by the way, it's Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff that wrote this, and they're coming up with a new series. I think that is going to be released in December, I believe. So he keeps asking me, when is this going to be released? So I was looking for this stamp set, which is a stack of books, and it's from Tim Holtz. Anyway, I couldn't find it. My scrapbook room is a total mess right now. I'm just not in a place where I can clean it. But what I did find was these Pink Fresh Studios, which was in my last haul. So if you go look in my last haul, you can see the whole collection, and it's something Let Your Heart Desire or something like that, and it has a whole bunch of book stuff. So I was like, perfect. So I decided to use a lot of the embellishments on this. Now, if you've been following me for a while, or if you're brand new, you know, or I'm going to tell you that normally I make page kits and I choose all my embellishments before I start scrapbooking. Well, for these next few pages, I didn't do that. And I have to tell you, I love doing it that way. I love making page kits, and because I found I wasted so much time going through all these embellishments and all of this and all of that, and it always works out. But I found that it was almost, I don't know, it almost stunned my creativity because I was too busy looking for the perfect embellishments. And so I can't wait to, make a whole bunch of new page kits and start scrapbooking with page kits again. I guess it's whatever you get used to is what works for you. And for me, doing page kits is what works for me. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit more about the books. So on the second page, the top right of the pictures, the first one is The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin. Oh my gosh, people, if you can get a hand on this book. I was absolutely lucky. I went to the secondhand store and they have a bunch of books, so I got that book for $1, and it was Peruse Project, Reagan from Peruse Project, that kept talking on her videos about this book and how good it is. And I can see this as another book that I'm going to reread again. It is about a man who owns a bookstore, which, that's one of the reasons was why I liked, because they talked about books. There's reference about all kinds of books throughout the book. And his wife just passed away, and his rare poems book, which is worth a lot of money, was just stolen and then one day a special package is left in his store. And it's just such a beautiful, awesome story. Like, I laughed, I cried. You just go through all the emotions with that book. If you are able to read this book, I highly suggest it. And it's not a very long book at all. It's under 300 pages. Now, the one next to it, and that's why I put them right next to each other, is by Emma Mills, is This Adventure Ends. And that one, I just finished it yesterday, and it made the list. It was 5 out of 5 stars for me. It was so good. It's totally character driven, and what that means is that there's not like a big adventure in this. It's about this girl and her family that moves in to this new town, and it's just her, kind of growing up, and the things that happens for her to grow up. But what I really loved was, again, the interaction between her and her family was so funny and so cute. And then her as a main character, Sloane, she was amazing. I just absolutely loved her. She was just so sarcastic all the time and just really funny. And then another thing that I super loved is they talk about scrapbooking in the book. Her little sister wants to do like a little book of scrapbook memories, and then they go to this dance, and the mom is taking pictures, and the guy looks at her and he goes, "Hope you're ready, because you're going to be in the scrapbook. You'll probably get your own page." And I just laughed out loud because that is something that, as scrapbookers we do. If something's important enough, it gets its own page. So I just fell in love with all the characters, and right away I already have another book from Emma Mills, and I'm going to read it right off the bat, because the way she wrote the story, it was just so good. Now, the next section is the thrillers. Now, the 2 authors I have there is Leanne Moriarty, and I have to say I only read the 1 book from her. I have quite a few from her, but I've only read Big Little Lies, which I absolutely loved. I would suggest to read the book first and then watch the TV series. And then, by the way, this TV series is getting a season 2. So, hello, it won't follow the book anymore. So that's interesting and fun. And then the other 2 books are by B.A. Paris. So it's Behind Closed Door and The Breakdown, which they're both thrillers. I don't want to tell you too much about them because I don't want to ruin it for you. But basically, The Breakdown, it's someone, that breaks down, and our main character sees that, is she broke down? Is she just sitting on the side of the road? So she just kind of stands there for a minute because, there was a lot of thunder and lightning, and then she doesn't show any distress or anything, so she drives off. While the next day, she wakes up to hear that this person that was on a secluded road was murdered. And so then the mystery unfolds from there. And then Behind Closed Door is about a marriage and how it can be so different, in front of what they show to people and what's actually happening behind closed door. Now, the last set of books that I also enjoy is like the romance, the fluffy stuff. And with young adult, it's more, cutesy and just like warms your heart. And then with the older adult stuff, there's a little bit more sexy time and, but it's just more for whenever I just feel like I might be getting into a slump, a good romance, quick read, not going to get too much out of it, except they're fun to read. And they're probably the least amount of books that I read, but I still enjoy them and, grab one once in a while. So the ones that I put on there was The Selection by Kira Cass. That was a series that I just flew through. It was such an easy read. And then, Colleen Hoover books. I know a lot of people say that her books are problematic, but to me, there's a lot of things in life that is problematic. I just find they're quite entertaining. The Paper Princess by Erin Watt. I read all 5 books, absolutely love them. And then the last one is The Darkest Sunrise by Ali Martinez, and that was an amazing duology. Kept me on my toes the whole time because that one had a little bit of thriller aspect to it too. So that's it. That's going to complete this layout. So don't forget, my classes are on for 50% off, even my last one, which was the Scrapathon, which was a ton of fun. And that one alone has 37 videos and it's for 50% off. So if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit subscribe if you're enjoying these videos. If you wouldn't mind, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to leave a comment in the section down below because it'll enter you into the drawing for the prizes. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.